All right. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Yay. Welcome to today's virtual write-in. My name is Catherine. I am the communications director at NaNoWriMo. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them. And I'm here today with Josie. Yay. Welcome back, Josie.
Hi.
And Josie is our programs associate now, right?
Uh, Hold
Is
on.
that your title? I can't remember. I don't know. My brain is so fried today.
Yeah. Uh,
But some of you may recognize Josie from the fall as one of our interns. So I'm so stoked to have her back. And just getting everything ready. I feel like, I don't know, it's almost April. How did that happen? I feel like that really snuck up on me. But yeah, Camp NaNoWriMo is, I was going to say just around the corner, but it's not even around the corner now. It's like down the street
yeah,
looming.
it's right there on Saturday.
I know. Yeah, April 1st on Saturday. So if you're watching, welcome. Feel free to type in the chat if you want to tell us where you're watching from today, what you're working on, what you're planning to write for Camp NaNoWriMo if you're going to participate. Um, don't forget to make your official Camp NaNoWriMo project on the camp website. If you participate, it's when you make a new goal. You can tick the little box that says associate with the official NaNoWriMo project, and select Camp NaNoWriMo April 2023. And then, it's a big community thing. Everybody will be writing together, but also if you join the official challenge and you reach your goal, then you can get, winter goodies and certificates and all that good stuff. So I will put the link to create a project in the chat if you have not already done it. Already done so. Man, my my words are really coming to me today. Just gonna find that link real quick. Jody, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we have coming up this week?
Yeah. So other than camp, which is obviously the big one, on Thursday we also have a webcast with I believe uh
Oh, that's with Jessica Brody
yeah, yeah,
from
yeah.
Save the
And
Cat.
yeah, so if you subscribe to our channel, then you'll be able to like get a notification when that's live. Um, and also on Friday we have Instagram Q&A with an editor. So you can follow our Instagram and submit your questions and get them answered. It can be about writing, publishing, editing, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Seeing some people in the chat being like, Camp Nano starts on Saturday? What? Really? Yikes. I know, that's how I feel.
I think it's the fact that a Saturday throws me off because like that's the end of the week.
Hmm.
So like why do things start at the end of the week? I don't know. That's just the calendar.
Right? Come on. Come on, calendar. All right. Since we might, I don't know, I won't speak for you guys, but for me, I think suddenly realizing that April is almost here, I need to get a little writing done and get my brain working again, get into that mode. Um, so if you haven't been to a virtual write-in before, basically what we're going to be doing is over the next hour, going in between sort of writing discussion. So if you want to chat with the other writers who are here in the chat or ask us questions, feel free to do that. And we'll also be giving writing prompts throughout the hour. So the prompts are optional. You don't have to use them if they don't work for you or that's not where you're at in your writing. But if you just want something to kind of launch you forward and get something written down, they can be helpful. So with that being said, why don't we go into our first writing prompt? And this will be just like a little warm-up one, so just about 5 minutes. And I just came up with some fun words. I wanted to kind of think about like generating ideas and finding story inspiration today. So I don't know. I just came up with some fun words that I liked. So for the first writing sprint, which will be 5 minutes, if you just want to going to give you a list of words and you can feel free to use any or all of them in a scene or a story idea or a character description. And I'll put them in the chat too, but the words are escapade, formulate, rip-roaring, delightful, and gizmo.
Those
So,
are fun words.
I
I like
know,
those
right?
words.
I've been seeing some polls lately, like on Tumblr or something, where it's just like a bunch of cool words, and people are like, pick your favorite word, and I don't know, a lot of good words in there. All right, I'm going to pull up a timer here. I can find out where it is. All right, so 5 minutes for the first prompt. Use any or all of the words, or none of them if you don't want. But just real quick, writing a scene for 5 minutes, and let's start writing together now. About 30 seconds left. All right, time is up for that sprint. Feel free to put how many words you wrote in the chat or how that went for you, or if you managed to use any of the words, if you want to share a sentence or how many words you got in, how many of those words. Saw, oh, who was it? I saw somebody in the chat who got all the words in. Oh, Michelle, nice.
Ooh, good job. I only use escapade and delightful because I have no idea what to use for the other.
Oh, I have to sneeze. Sorry. You ever have that moment where you're like, oh, I'm gonna sneeze, and then it doesn't happen. Nice. Yeah, Epsilon says hello from France and said, what complicated words. I did have that thought as I was choosing them. I was like, none of these are easy words, but hopefully you found those fun.
Oh, there's some snippets people put. Imaginos put reaching her. He pulled off a gizmo she was wearing on her head, letting her hair cascade down her shoulders. Oh, I love gizmo because it can be like so many things.
I know. I like this one from CB394. Suddenly I had a rip-roaring headache. This is a delightful gizmo, Hammer said, and an evil grin playing around his face. Like that. 3 words and 2 sentences. Nicely done.
Michelle then follows up with, you may need a gizmo in order to formulate an escapade. Yep.
Yes. I feel like that could be the like very broad plot for most of the TV shows I've been watching recently.
Yeah. Especially whatchamacallit. You know, like those heist films. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I've been watching I've been watching the new season of Shadow and Bones. So no spoilers. I'm only like 3 episodes in, but cool. I got some questions too. Dystopia Utopia Autumn says, hi, is anyone rewriting for camp? Which I think technically I am, because I had like 50 pages of a novel that I had written. And then I got some feedback on it and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to scrap everything I wrote. Like keep the core story idea, but start over entirely from the beginning. And I'm glad I did because it's so much better now. And I'm back up to about 50 pages. And I'm like, oh man, so much better. But so technically I am rewriting, even though I never fully finished the first draft. What are you working on, Josie?
I'm working on, I like just got this idea, but I'm gonna work on a script for a game, maybe not like a crazy, like complicated game, but like a visual novel. I'm not drawing anything because
That's a different month.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That's for someone else. But I'll write the script maybe this week. It's not this week. Next month.
That sounds really cool. I saw a question from Alpinetta that said, any PhD students or graduates? I've seen a lot of advice saying you should only do a PhD after you've published. Would you agree? I do not have a PhD, so I can't directly speak to this. I do have an MFA, and I think it depends what you want to use your PhD for. I feel academic writing is a totally different beast. even the creative programs. I think it it depends a lot what you want to do with that degree and what you want to use it for. So if it's something, I will say that a lot of programs, if you're trying to do creative writing, if you want to like teach at a college level, being published and having a PhD is certainly a big step up. But that being said, some of my professors when I was in my MFA program did not have a PhD. Most of them were published though, I think. So I don't know. It just depends. That's my 2 cents. As someone with no PhD.
I also don't have a PhD, but I see Katie chimed in with it may be field dependent. So if there are any specific programs you're interested in, check the current student pages to see what's standard for the program. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Always check like the students of the program and see what they're doing.
They'll tell you the truth.
Yeah. And also don't be afraid to like reach out to them. They may be really busy, but I've had fun like talking to like graduate students, not PhD, just graduate in their master's program, and like learning about the program through like Zoom meetups or like email. So yeah, don't be afraid.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That's a little bit of a different topic, but kind of not really, because Jody, kind of like you were mentioning, I'm trying my best to bridge these topics here, but yeah, you can. One of the things that I love about camp is being able to use it for all different kinds of projects. So I love the idea of writing a like game visual novel. That's so cool. I hope you finish that because that sounds really neat. But I'm curious if other people are working on sort of not less traditional types of writing. I've definitely used camp before to be like, oh, I have to write my thesis, you know. So that is a totally valid way to use it. But also April is National Poetry Month in the US, so I don't know, maybe we have some poets out there. I'm also I'm curious too, because we're talking a little bit about finding inspiration. So I don't know. I'm curious how it works for everybody. If you, in terms of like when you get an idea for something that you want to write, what your process is around that. I know some of you may be hardcore planners, and some of you may be pantsers, flying by the seat of your pants. A lot of people are somewhere in the middle. But yeah, I'm curious what the ratio of planners to pantsers is here. I'm definitely more on the pantsing side of the spectrum.
I'm someone who's in between, but I feel like I lean towards planning more, and I'm trying to be more a pantser because I feel like I get trapped in the planning stage too much, and I'll just sit there and make outlines and not actually do anything with it.
Right? Because sometimes making the outline sort of scratches the itch of like,
Yeah.
oh, here's the thing. Yeah. Like imagine it says hardcore plantser.
Michelle says, I started as a pantser, and that novel's now about 10 years old, so I've converted to planning. Yeah, sometimes you just work on a project and it just forces you into something.
Mm-hmm. Tel Wilson and Grace Powell, both planners. Nice. That's great. I'm curious of the people in the chat. I always love hearing about folks like their writing process, or they have any advice, because like I'm definitely I feel like I'm one of those people that I'm like I want to plan sometimes more than I do. But yeah, I'm curious for people who do plan and create outlines, like do you have any advice for folks who want to do more of that, who like want to come up with a story plan and stick to it. And then for pantsers, like how do you know when you're following the right story path? How do you choose what to write next, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, Jalen says I want to become a planner. Me too. I feel like it would make my life easier.
Uh, I see Michelle says they use a template for characters, which is
Hmm.
always good for any when planning. And I saw Bella up here saying they use Anna's news outline process, who was one of our YouTube guides last year.
Oh yeah.
And I've watched her outline process, and it's actually, I think I used that for my Nano novel last year. It's pretty good. I won't have the
Cool.
link at the top of my head, but
Awesome. Yeah, I think her profile is still linked to on the NaNoWriMo YouTube page. So um, Aaron Roll says, I'm mostly a planner. Problem is I can't make much progress because I always get stuck on outlining. I feel like I have to have everything just so before I write. Sounds like, yeah, that I feel like that's a point when you may need to go more of the pantsing route and be like, okay, I've gotten to a certain point where I have enough, you know, bullet points, and maybe it's gonna go off the rails. But need to just start and jump off and try it.
what I like doing is just closing your eyes at some point. Like, do not look at your outline, just write.
I feel like if I tried to close my eyes and write, it would be completely illegible.
Uh, Tuckett mentions outlining backwards, which would be interesting if you like don't know the ending and starting like from bottom up approach.
That's really cool, and that's a really interesting idea. I kind of want to try that now. Rocket Joe 86 says start with a written out summary of your idea, try to figure scope, main characters, places, and the main conflict. I feel like that's kind of how I do it. It's just like finding the big points of like, okay, I know I want this character to do this thing and end up here. It's all the muddly stuff in the in between those points that I'm like, okay, this could go pretty much anywhere. Captain Truth says outlines can cause for messy outcomes. It's better to draw it out. Interesting.
Ooh. Um, Aaron says they've tried Save the Cat, which is when what device people use, but for some reason they can't put shoehorn their writing in there. That's also a point. Like sometimes what people have as templates just will not work for you, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yep, it is okay. I think it's a good thing that not everybody's writing fits into the same into the same template. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of writing, now that we're thinking about planning and where our story is going, thought we could move on to the next writing sprint. And this one is a little more meta. So again, if it doesn't work for you, if you're in a different place, feel free to work on something else while we're doing the writing sprint. But if you want to try it, figured this one could be for about 10 minutes. Um, and the prompt is to create some kind of guide for what you want to accomplish with your Camp NaNoWriMo project. So it could be more traditional, like an outline or a plot synopsis, or it could be a little more free form, like a list of feelings that you want to explore, or words that come to mind when you think of your story. Speaking of fun words, but just sort of thinking through like what's at the heart of your project and why do you want to write this story. um, I don't know. I always feel like doing something like that to kind of like center like, okay, this is what I'm trying to accomplish in the next month. helps me even when I'm off in my little, pantsing, like following those little character rabbit trails, being like, okay, this is what I'm this is like the center of what I'm doing. So I will put that prompt in the chat here. There we go. And this one I think can be for about 10 minutes. So I'll pull up my timer. And I'll put the prompt in the video description too if you want to refer back to it if the chat scrolls down. But so 10 minutes, creating some kind of guide for what you want to accomplish with your Camp NaNoWriMo project in April. And let's start writing now. Got about 3.5 minutes left. All right, time is up for that sprint. So once again, go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. If you want to share in the chat how that went for you, or if there's anything that came up, or if you want to share a snippet of what you wrote, feel free to do that. I feel like I got a little more clarity on what I want to work on next month. I kind of like bullet points of where I wanted my story to go, but I actually sat down and was like, oh wait, like what should happen in each of these next like 10 chapters? So
Yeah, I got some outline done. I got most of the intro part done. So I'm like, okay, I had no idea what I was going to do in the beginning. So this is the start.
nice. Saw that Kate was said, I decided to work on a collection of short stories about grandmothers because I feel like there isn't enough about them in the writing world. I love that. I love collections of short stories, and I love the idea of them all being about grandmothers. Also saw that Ink McFeatherquill said, I tend to treat my outlining and brainstorming kind of like free writing, inserting all my thoughts and half ideas into my notes. Do pro cons lists of points I'm considering. That's cool. I've never thought of doing a pros and cons list for stuff in my writing before.
That sounds neat. I might think about doing that, especially for things that I might be stuck on.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel that way when I'm reading a book and like a beloved character dies. Like, no, I didn't want this to happen. Tangled Charm wrote 289 words and working on the direction they want to go with their story. Nice.
Kel Wilson wrote out some sentences, which I imagine is where your story wants to go. So empathy and sympathy, desire for greater understanding. We all have stories. People deserve the benefit of the doubt. There are very few absolute villains. Listen before you speak. I don't know what your story is about, but I feel like that's just like radiates like kindness and understanding each other and has like good vibes, I think.
I love that. I also love the idea that there are no, there are very few absolute villains. I feel like that applies to both life and writing.
Yeah. See some comments about how your lists become paragraphs and ramblings. Yeah, that's how it goes.
I think that's part of the curse of being a writer. It always ends up longer than you think it should. Josie, do you want to talk a little bit about the next discussion and prompt? Because I think these
Oh
ones
yeah.
are yours.
Okay. Well, I don't got like any cool transitions, but
That's fine.
the next prompt or discussion is about I'm curious to know where people get your writing inspiration. So like specifically, have you read anything inspired by a dream or have a dream you want to write about? Do you tend to remember your dreams? And if so, they sometimes are often make narrative sense. Um, this is inspired because one of my friends has like reoccurring dreams or actually a lot of my friends have like really interesting dreams like that I don't have and I'm very jealous of that. Like one of them always dreams about like these like horror themed dreams that are really scary, but
Whoa.
like lead to like really good imagery for like horror themed stories. And I'm like, okay, why don't you use this for something? Like I'd use this for like all of my writing because I can't think of imagery like that. It's really hard to write.
That's really cool. I've definitely read some like I remember there's a short story in an anthology where a person was like, "Yeah, this is basically entirely a dream that I had, and I just had to write it down." I feel like I have dreams that have like some kind of plot line. If I tell them to my friends, they're like, "Wow, that's really a like story dream." But then if I ever sit down to try and write it, I'm just like, "Oh my God, this is so stupid."
Yeah, like my dreams usually are like, I think my only reoccurring one is that like I'm a spy in the mall and I have like a mission, and I'm like, I don't know what I would do with it because the missions do not make any sense, and I'm just like, what is this?
But being a spy in a mall is great.
Hmm.
Oh, Grace Powell says both of my current main projects are inspired by dreams. That's cool.
Ooh. Um, Jalen says, I typically get most of my stories from my dreams because they always feel so real. I have to write down the basics the morning before, so I don't remember or forget it.
Yeah, I used to keep a dream journal. I haven't done it in a long time, but sometimes I'll like wake up and text somebody like, "Oh my God, I just had this dream." Story file says the original idea for for my series came from a dream, but it's changed form so many times. I'm not sure there's any relation now.
Hey, you can always mean it's a good jumping spot. It's okay, Jalen. We always got typos. Um, I also see like some non-dream related ones.
Mm,
CP394 talks about Marvel and fan fiction, and I always love like seeing what people do with fan fiction. And like filling up potholes and stuff.
yeah.
Um, and
Meta says, I think I draw some of the themes from my own life. Nearly all my stories have queer, transgender, nonconforming characters. Yeah, that's great. And people are talking about like connections between dreams and AI, which is super interesting.
that sounds like some like sci-fi stuff.
Right?
Uh,
Aaron Rolls has got a basic idea for someone seeing a want ad for volunteers at a shelter for magic animals. I love
oh, that's cute. What would magic animals be in like a shelter? Like,
that. Like somebody abandoned a litter of unicorns or something.
oh no, it's probably hard to keep up with it. Like, there's dragons in there. How do they just not like burn down the poor
Yeah,
shelter?
I would read that.
Yeah, this goes
AB
good
says,
with,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say this is gonna be good with Michelle's comment because they mentioned Stephen King's on Ryan where he talks about what if. So like, what if a car had a soul? So you always try to think about what ifs.
Hmm. Yeah, that's neat. I saw this comment from AB that says, writing my dreams feels like trying to translate from
Oh,
one language to another because they're so visual and I wish I could paint them instead. I feel that sometimes where it's like, oh, this strong image. I read a story one time, I think by David Levithan about somebody painting music, and I really wanted to try
oh,
that. Doug Muffin says, I usually get inspiration from anime in my dreams, but primarily my dreams. What anime I'm interested in affects what my dreams look like. I remember my dreams perfectly and make a story with it.
oh,
That's a great like pipeline there.
that's cool. Like you're watching like an anime and then just like you see that style in your dreams. That's cool actually. Um, Ink Mac Featherquill says I have a project on the background right now that was originally inspired by a character I showed up very briefly in a dream. I don't think any of my current projects are though.
Man, I'm loving how many people have been inspired by dreams. This is really cool. Should we get on to our last writing prompt?
Yeah, let's write about some dreams, guys. So our last prompt is also inspired by dreams, and it's write a scene where your character dreams. Does it reveal anything about them or the plot? Or if you want, you can like incorporate anything you draw down in the last prompt, or even like if the discussion question made you think about some dreams you want to write about that. Write about the dream you had last night. I don't know.
Awesome. Let's see, I'll put 10 minutes on the timer for this one. So yeah, let's again, if it doesn't work for you, you don't have to use it, but if you want to, feel free. So write about a scene where your character is dreaming. Let's start writing now. About halfway through. I have 5 minutes left. All right, time is up for that sprint. So go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. Again, if you want to share any word counts or how that went for you, or any little snippets in the chat, feel free to do that. How'd that go for you?
I think I tried to write about a dream for a little bit, and then I couldn't get like that dream feeling, like like that feeling a dream or whatever. And so I just started like doodling at some point. I was like, not every sprint has to be like a win.
That is true. I was just trying to remember some of my dreams, and some of them have been really weird. And then I remembered that I had one the other day where I like was kidnapped by Elon Musk. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in my head. I don't think that's making it into a story, but it was a funny dream to remember. Also, and I know we kind of ran a little late, but that's all right. But we're at the top of the hour now. So probably just gonna go ahead and wrap up this virtual write-in. But if you enjoyed this, if you're looking for more prompts and conversations and things to help you get motivated with your writing, we'll be hosting these every week through Camp NaNoWriMo. So that'll be fun. Hope to see you guys there. Let's see. Oh yeah, don't forget to create your camp project if you have not already done so. And you can create it with like the title and the description, or if you want to stick in some of the stuff that you thought about today, you can do that. And then once midnight in your time zone hits on April 1st, you can start writing immediately, working on that project. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get notifications when we're doing other live events like this, or like the webcast that we have with Jessica Brody from Save the Cat Writes a Novel on Thursday. And if you're on Instagram, you can head over there on Friday to do a Q&A with an editor, which should be super interesting. So yeah, lots of good fun stuff coming up. You have anything to add, Josie?
No.
Great. Okay. And we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.